This is what she had to say. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Rebranded. My name is Anthony Goodson. I am your host. Tonight we got a very unfortunate show, actually. We're going to talk a little bit about rapper Takeoff from last night. So as we allow more and more people to get in and listen to this, we want to for sure say, please share the show.
Please share this show. Hit the button.
Right on. Right on, right on. Please share the show. We got a very unfortunate show that we want to talk about, which is, of course, rapper Takeoff. He was murdered about 36 hours or so ago yesterday morning. And, of course, it raises the question, where are we as a people? Most importantly, where are we as our youth? Where are our youth and our entertainment industry going, especially the hip hop artists? Seems like they're getting killed. No matter where they are, they're getting killed in Houston, they're getting killed in Dallas. Pop Smoke, wherever he was at, got killed. The list goes on and on. And that's a very saddening situation. As I get into it, we'll play a little video clip here in a little bit. Deion Sanders and his football team, they talk about what they're going to do this weekend in Houston when they go, because he was just, I guess, appalled and a little bit upset about what's going on. Anyway, we want you guys to chime in all night long. Be sure to tell us how you feel about this. Before, as we get started, I want to y'all know that Kim, in her absence, Kim, we expect you to be on the show tonight. That would have been a fun conversation from a female perspective. So females, if there's a female out there who's on the show, we would love for you guys to join. All right, Ace, Eric, how you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good, brother. In the mutation of Eric's and his microphone, we're doing good, man. Just ready to get into this subject, talk about a few things with the community, and kind of discuss this tragic event, and let's see where it goes.
I would say so far today's going really well. Week's going really well. Can't complain about anything. But no, there's no good really, right, for the most part. But I would say before we start having a conversation, I do want to just say we are talking about people, and these things happen to these people. So I do want to take a time to just give my condolences to the people who lost their lives and their families, things like that. But we even talk about the actual incident, and then obviously the ramifications that maybe they caused it possibly prior to, and ramifications that's happening because of it as well. So, and we just want to get our condolences out to people who are going through a loss right now.
All right, so Takeoff, rapper from Migos. Actually, you know what? At 45 years old, I don't listen to a whole lot of hip hop anymore, with the exception of old groups and Drake and some of these young, these people who've been around for quite some time. But the one young new group that I actually listen to, probably the only new group that I actually listen to, is the Migos. I'm a big fan. I mean, we all know some of their songs, Walk It Like I Talk It, Bad and Bougie, and all these different songs that they have. And they have a nice little flavor, nice little feel. As far as I'm concerned, there's no violent anything in it. It's just, dance music for the most part, and it feels good. So I don't know these young men, of course, certainly don't know them personally, but when I think about it, they don't put out that, we're going to get into this, and we can get into it now if y'all want to. They don't even put out the negativity that we put out as kids. Ice Cube and NWA, all these guys. They put out a completely different vibe. However, we are seeing the same results. Pop Smoke, Mo3, Takeoff. These guys are just getting killed by random people. So
PB&J.
That's his name?
It ain't PB&J.
I thought it's PB. I don't. PB.
See, you don't even know.
I think
the Jiffy Boy.
Wow.
I have no clue what y'all talking about. So
here's another rapper. I think it's PMM Rock, I believe his name is, but
that sounds about right. Yeah.
So what do y'all think? I mean, is it hip hop? Is hip hop just dangerous? Is it detrimental? Is it hurting should we just eliminate hip hop altogether?
You know what? I don't think we should. Definitely shouldn't eliminate it, but at some point in time, there has to be some type of awareness and accountability. I think we need more. I think I would charge the artists to kind of be a little more concerned about themselves and the community, and because right now you can tell the machine is behind it because everything is pumping out the same thing. It's no differential. You don't even really have certain artists that's this and that. And the ones that are kind of speaking up and saying positive things, you don't get to hear them because they don't play them. You know.
All right, so 28-year-old Takeoff was murdered. Let's go ahead and throw that out there because he's 28. Think about where you were at 28 years old. Now, I never had the street mentality, so I was in a completely different place. All right, but at 28 years old, we got to give, I guess, a little bit of, a little power to that, for lack of a better term. But let's also take a look at other genres of music. R&B. What was the last R&B musician that was murdered, or any kind of altercation to this level? I mean, man. R. Kelly had his issues. Marvin Gaye. All right, when was the last country singer? When was the last even rock singer?
They overdose before they get a chance to get killed. So I mean, we don't have.
They overdose at a late age, 40s, 50s. So yeah. I'm looking at hip hop, and my question is, do we get rid of hip hop? Is it necessary? Now here's the thing: it's my music, it's y'all's music, it's who we are, it's how we grew up, all these things. But so we want to hold on to it. We want to kind of cater to it. We want to nurture it a little bit. But is it good? Do you want your daughter dating a hip hop artist?
Nah. Hell nah. I'm gonna stick with Bobby Womack.
Hip hop needs to be regulated, not eliminated.
I like that, Brian.
Who says that?
That's my main man, Brian Evans.
I agree. But going to what they said, though, I believe that the people that have the ability to regulate it is the ones pumping it out. So it's kind of a conflict of interest, in my opinion. I agree with you 100%, though. I wish we could regulate it a little bit better. And the only way we regulate it as a people is just not buying it. That's how you can regulate it that way. Same thing about athletes. If they don't like some things, you just don't play. But again, you talk about people money. You know what I'm saying? If you take away some freedoms like that, it gets really really gray in that area, because you can do for money, or you can do it to help your people. Can you do both at the same time? I hadn't seen a whole lot of balance to that, at least in this entertainment business, in a way.
That's good to say. Because one thing that we not realizing is, young black murder is big business, and that's a problem. That's a problem that needs to be looking into, and that's a problem that at some point somebody's gonna have to, take a look at. And it's not just the rap fault, because these hood dudes doing it. It ain't just rappers, because it's going on in the hood every day and stuff like that. But at some point, something's gonna have to happen in the community where we start, turning around. You're always gonna have your bad seeds. You're always gonna have your warns, but what's happening now is it's kind of spilled over into becoming the norm.
Well, let's take a look at it real quick as we get ready to just really jump into this show. So Takeoff was murdered last night, and of course, like I said, everybody who's watching, we want you to comment. This is my take. For some strange reason, this situation represents the black community to me. Let me see if I can explain it. So you have a young individual who has made it. Who's rich, he's famous, he's successful, all these things, but he unfortunately just cannot let go of his past. He can't let go of who he was, and so he probably could grow even further had he let that go, instead of spending time doing those type things. Because we learned further that he was not actually playing dice, but he was in the vicinity of the dice game. Because originally when we heard dice, we thinking, what is he doing playing dice? What does he have to gain? So I'm going to squash everything that I was thinking then. Nevertheless, there are certain places that you cannot allow yourself to go to. And I'm not talking about physically. There's certain mental places you cannot allow yourself to go to. You have to elevate yourself. And to me, the black community, this represents the black community. Because it seems like we have individual successes, but we for some reason can't get it all. We can't forget the past and grab each other and elevate ourselves to the next level. I don't even know how to say it correctly. But anyway, I'll let y'all do y'all's comment. But to me, this represents who we are to the fullest. This is no different than Michael Vick. But anyway, go ahead.
It's just a stupid. It's becoming a stupid thing in the culture. That keeping it real, and I'm staying down with my real one and stuff like that. And you got people who clearly made it to the other side, and clearly, but for some reason, you don't feel complete if you don't stay connected at the bottom. And I think they need to understand you can stay connected without intertwining, or without putting yourself at risk and harm's way. It's that rule that we all know, as far as the hood don't love nobody. Nipsey Hussle was feeding kids and trying to stop gentrification and buying property and trying to keep the neighborhood black, and they killed him.
I don't know, y'all. I'm in a very difficult moment right now when I think about this one. This one kind of hurt a little bit, more so than the other ones. Like Tupac, for example. Tupac didn't really hurt me. It's like, it's expected. This right here just comes out the blue in the most ratchet kind of way. Let's go to the comments real quick. It says, if you don't like the music, don't buy it. Which, I don't know, is that Brian again? But I personally,
that's Mr. Tony Goodson.
I don't buy the music.
All right.
I don't buy the music, but I do like some of it, so I have the option to go to YouTube and watch it or listen to it for free. But I think that's part of the deal. That's buying it, because you sometimes have to listen to the advertisement and all that. So you now kind of giving power to it because it's another view. Now we're in an era of views more so than we are CD sales. So anyway, let's go back to the comment.
So I agree with Mr. Tony though, for sure. But I think the issue with that is, like, we don't have to buy it these days. Our kids are finding ways to listen to it too. You know what I'm saying, on their devices and things like that. So that kind of lends to them still getting that publication like that too. And once again, kids gonna keep it going round and round, especially if it got a good beat to it. And so maybe mindful of that, I guess, technically too. But go ahead with the comments though.
They got the ears of who they want to have.
Kanye or Ye is crazy, but he's telling the truth about our hip hop culture. We're going to talk about Kanye here in a little bit. In fact, we can go ahead and jump into that right now. Kanye offers an apology. Go ahead, Ace.
No. I wish Mr. and Ms. Goodson were watching the show so I could tell you how I really feel, Kanye. Stay where you at, brother.
I didn't hear the apology. So I can't really.
Even in the first of all, I think we use that genius term too light with Kanye. His genius stops at the music. Once the beat stops, that genius stuff is going out the door. Kanye is an idiot. He's a musical genius, but he's a complete idiot. So when he apologized, he said the way that he's being done by Adidas and the way that he was done by, is it the Gap or whoever, the way he was done by Adidas and the way Gap, now he knows how it feels to have a knee on his neck. And that's so insulting because that comes after you said that about George Floyd, but now you understand how it feels to have a knee on your neck because you lost a $1 billion contract.
So someone threw the question out there, what are our leaders doing? What are our leaders doing? First of all, let's go over our leaders. Who are our leaders?
I've said this before on the show, man. If you look at the mainstream, you're not going to see our leaders. I think we look too much toward entertainers and things like that. The mainstream, they're not going to give the pub to those on mainstream media sites. They're not going to do that. They will give people like Kanye the spotlight when he making those crazy comments. They will give highlights to people that may be going against the grain and saying something that other black people not going to agree with necessarily. That's what the media is going to put out there necessarily. So to highlight the leadership, I think we really have to look deeper and do our own research. I don't think you can see anybody in the mainstream, to be honest with you.
There's only a very small few leaders that's trying to really do something for the community. You got Dave Chappelle, you got D.L. Hughley, and this is not everybody. So folks out there, if I leave somebody else now, you got Dave Chappelle, you got D.L. Hughley, and you got Minister Farrakhan. Those are the only people right now stepping up, opening their mouths, and saying something on the behalf of the community. Rizza Islam was one too, but they barred him from social media and stuff, so he doesn't have that.
My point exactly. People
that
that
platform,
catch you, man.
So those are the only people right now who speaking up and saying stuff.
Well, I wouldn't say those are the only. Those are the only you can think of right now. You got Charleston White. He's speaking up. You got,
my main man, Charles White. Yeah, I do support it.
Omar, what's his name, Johnson?
Umar speaking up for the.
He does to an extent, but listen what you're talking about. Everybody you're talking about
David Banner
has been listed as a controversial person, or somebody who's a menace to society, for lack of better terms. Again, right? I agree with some people that some things I say are very helpful to the community and could push us forward in a mighty way. But you have to be mindful in mainstream what you are looking for. If you're looking to go to bring everybody together, you're probably not gonna have somebody that's gonna say something that everybody thinks already. they could be controversial, like a Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is the most intelligent person I've seen on TV in a long time. The boy put it in a way, such a way that it makes you think about it in a comical manner a lot of times. Other than outside of that, he's one of them. To me, he brings most people together. And I heard recently that he on his shows, it's mostly white folks in his shows. It's not a whole lot of black people inside of his shows.
It's always been since day one. It's always been mostly. But you know what? What makes up a good leader? Number one, and what are we looking for out of a leader? What's the end result? What kind of end result are we looking for? And then, I mean, then we may be the leaders right here on this show.
Of course we are. Rebranders, we the number one. We the number one leaders. Put the Cash App up. Just tell them how they can support the cause.
Wow. I don't even got a Cash App, guys. So let's let you guys know that. But yeah, we'll figure it out.
But let me ask you this. So I don't know if y'all know much about history, but we can go back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, and the quote unquote black on black crime was not a thing. They didn't come until I believe the 80s. Okay. We had crime, of course, but black on black was not a thing. We had leaders. We had Malcolm. We had Martin. We had Medgar. We had lots of people back in those days. Why they all start with an M? Muhammad, Ali.
Mother.
Hey, some to that.
Some to it. But some of the issues that we're seeing right now, we didn't see back then. We saw different issues. We were all kumbaya because we were dealing with civil rights. But some of the issues we didn't see back then. Now, again, I don't personally believe that we have to look to our celebrities to be leaders. But we have to find a leader and understand what it is that they gave us in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, or whatever. And that is what we're looking for out of a leader. The results also that they were giving us is what we're looking for. And unfortunately, we don't want to have to fight the same issues that we're fighting, although we are. Not quite the same, though.
What you're seeing today, unfortunately, all those people that you named, what you're seeing today is the result of the system that they were trying to fight. The system that were being put in place, that they were fighting against and going against. What you're seeing today is the result of what they were trying to
You just said something, though. You said they were fighting the system. We don't have any of those leaders that we named just a moment ago, that you named. Mm-hmm. The Killer Mikes, the Umars.
I didn't say Killer Mike. I didn't say Umar.
None of those leaders, quote unquote, are leading. They're not fighting the system. They're educating the public. It's a totally different thing. I don't even know if they're educating, but they're speaking their truth to the public. That is not a fight. Because Eric, I think we were talking about this the other day. You cannot be a leader if you're not willing to get to lose something. You can't. You can't. Even if you had a job and you're trying to be a strong leader, you're gonna have to lose friendship. You know, you may even have to lose relationships. But I have to put off. So I mean, Malcolm got his house burnt up. Nobody wants that. Don't get me wrong. And Martin, all the things that went down with him, you have to be willing to lose something. My preacher said, those things that you defend, those things that you're willing to keep defend, you're not willing to give up. Basically, you're willing.
You weren't really in church that day, was
you? God damn.
Those things that you are willing to fight for. If I tell you that you are a liar, you lie all the time. Everybody say you lie all the time. And I come to you as a friend and tell you that you are a liar. And all you do is defend yourself. You're willing to keep that what I'm telling you. So I think so when you put that all together, that's what I think we're looking at. We're looking at the things that all we're doing is being educated by the public, but the leaders aren't actually fighting for anything. So since they're not fighting for anything, they're willing to keep those things that they're quote unquote putting out there in the public.
So quick question with that though. Because you said, I agree with you. I think they're two separate entities in regards to fighting against the system versus educating. And I do agree that Dr. Umar, Killer Mike, all those cats right there, they are putting their truths to educating the way they believe. And some of that stuff could be true, some of the stuff may not be true. I haven't listened to everything they said. But I will say this, some things they have said, I do agree with. I will say that. But when you're educating, are you also uniting? And so you really can't. It's hard to fight by yourself. And you can be a great leader, but if you fight by yourself, it's gonna become tiring at some point, right? So a leader also unites as well as be willing to give something up as well. So if you can't find a way to unite people, then you can't be a good leader. I think about it in my own household. If I can't unite my household, how can I go out and unite somebody in the workplace? And even more so, unite a community like ours, you know what I'm saying? Because it's so diverse, and we got so many different things going on, and there's so many things against us, you know, per se. So I think you have to be very, very thoughtful about being a leader, especially going towards building up the Black community.
And you know, I think that So if a person is deciding to become a leader, whatever, he chosen to be a leader, then what he got to understand is he's not going to unite everybody that he's even trying to,
That's true.
Save. There's a select, like you, for example, you're trying to be a leader in your household. All the rules and all the stuff that you have may be great for many households, but you really got to focus on your household. Okay, and then that's I was gonna go somewhere else with that. I'm gonna leave it alone.
You trying to go deep with us?
Huh?
You trying to go deep tonight, huh?
No. I just try to.
Well, I'll say this too, though. When you're talking about uniting people, you need like you mentioned Trump, I think a minute ago, right? Even if you believe Trump, even if you support Trump, and I don't think you should by any means, but there's stuff that Trump said is actually true. And there's stuff that TD Jakes, if you believe like TD Jakes, some stuff that he say that's untrue. Some stuff say is true, or some stuff you believe, right? So every time you have a leader, you're not gonna agree with everything they say, and that's the bottom line. Guess what? We're not the same people. We are not the same people. Different minds. Got dog. You all right, boy? You all right, boy? But anyway, so the leaders of the day, man, we have to figure out who are leaders in our own community. Like,
why does it make you laugh? Why do you laugh when you see people laugh?
Localized leadership versus global leadership.
All right, let's get back to it.
Yeah, I heard everything you said, and you on point. But I think part of the problem today is too, we've become such a culture of we don't want a leader. We're not looking for a leader because everybody kind of is in that thing where you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do my own thing, and nobody cares about the majority. Everything is me. It's like I don't care if what I'm doing is detrimental to the community or it's hurting people.
You freeze, nice.
You're freezing, Ace, so we'll go ahead and jump right on in there. Okay, Charleston Wright. I don't know if y'all been seeing him. Young brother. Actually, I think he's from, what we say, Fort Worth, right? Somewhere in that area. This young brother,
he's from Fort Worth, man.
He ain't young no more, but yeah.
He
older than us.
It's something. I don't know how old. He's just a little fella. There's something about the way that somebody can say something to you very harshly. However, because they say it harsh, although it is true, it's hard to receive.
God,
and that's the problem. People be everybody's worried about the message and how it's being delivered instead of, what the message is. That dude ain't never said nothing but truth, but people can't stand it. And that's I said it a couple of shows ago, if you catch H's place. Mm-hmm. It's a sickness. We're sick. We don't want to hear anything that's right. We don't want to hear anything that's a good direction.
I think we want to hear what's right. We just don't want to hear what's against us.
It's just like what's the city that God destroyed, Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what's going on today. Everybody's only worried about themselves feeling good and what they want. Like, people hate Charleston White because he speaks up for the community and he says bad stuff about their favorite rapper. So forget the community, forget the innocent kids getting killed and the old ladies getting robbed and stuff like. Forget them, but don't say nothing about this rich guy who's living in a very safe place, telling your kids to kill each other and telling your kids to sell dope and all that. That's who we take up for. If it came down to an activist and a rapper, when I'm talking about, I'm talking about the community. We gonna take up for the rapper. Forget the activist trying to help the community. Forget the dude that's trying to feed kids, start lunch programs, get back to school drives, trying to get books for the day. Forget those guys. We need the person that's telling everybody how many people he killed, how much dope he sold. That's who we gonna defend as a people, and that's sick. It's a sickness, and that's something that we really need like one big group therapy. Like, we need just this big black Zoom call with a therapist on there.
That'd be a funny call right there, boy. I thought about that many times, ladies. That'd be a hilarious phone call.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
So can we be saved as a people? Are we doomed?
No, we're not. We're not doomed.
As a people, now I'm talking about as a people. Are we going to be so ingrained in the American culture that the black culture is lost, and black skinned people would just celebrate the white American culture and forget about their history, or forget about their culture, and just you're doomed. You can't save it. Black Wall Street was a thing. Is that just not a possibility?
I don't think we've doomed, but I do think we've created the blueprint for how it can be done if it needs to be done. I do think we've drawn the map to doom. I don't think we're doomed. I think eventually we'll get off of that course and start heading somewhere else. But I definitely think we're en route, however you want to pronounce it, depending on where you're from.
Well, if you're at Sonic, it's Route 44.
Wow.
Look here, let me give y'all a quick history lesson. I think I had a conversation with both of y'all about this week. So, Black Wall Street. First of all, let me tell everybody, Black Wall Street was not Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma had a Black Wall Street. Okay, let me go ahead and get that first. That you saw in 1921 was a Tulsa race riot. There were those all over the country. New York had a Wall Street. Sherman, Texas had a Wall Street all over the country. Speaking of Sherman, Texas, September 1930, they had their Black Wall Street, and of course they ended up destroying it, right? And so eventually it became, and there was a common denominator between all these cities all throughout the country, Virginia and Chicago and New York and Oklahoma, Texas, Sherman. There's two reasons. If I gave y'all two thoughts as to why they destroyed these, how and why they destroyed these neighborhoods, what would y'all say? One is how, one is why. How did they destroy it? For what reason did they destroy it?
Well, the reason, I mean, they want to keep the power and power and money. They want to keep
That's
that to
number one.
themselves.
And what excuse did they use to say, oh, we're doing this, and this is the common root. This is the reason why we're doing it. And this is the common denominator all over the country.
It probably has something to do with the common denominator is some black person raped a white woman.
Absolutely. Now, and that's all over the country. So we had the blueprint. We had it right there. And so my question is, how do we keep from that happening again? Do I think we can all of a sudden have black communities and positive music, R&B and music, the black on black crime is eliminated, all these things, and now you have that kumbaya moment. What is that one piece that's going to start tearing us down? Is it us? Or is it going back to the root of what they've been doing from before? Because we never learned that lesson.
Well, they're not doing it no more. They just sitting back letting us do it. And we do a good job of that for them. We right now, I'm pretty sure we've done more damage to ourselves than the KKK has. I mean, just being real. Like it's sad to say, but if you ask most people, they probably more scared of a young black person than they are of somebody with sheets on burning a cross.
Just for the record, I had a little scratchy throat. This is cranberry juice. Thank you. Thank you. This is for Deborah Goodson. All right, so we're talking about Takeoff. Takeoff was murdered. He was a rapper that was murdered yesterday. From the Migos, 28-year-old individual out of Houston, Texas. He's not from there. He was just there. Over a dice game, or during a dice game, he was killed. So that's what the conversation is really all about. Please let us know what y'all think about this situation. I correlated it with, or said it was a parallel with the black community as a whole. Finally starting to make it, trying to see the change, and then all of a sudden you allow your own self to kind of hurt yourself. That's what we're talking about. Let's move on just a little bit. In fact, let's go ahead and see what Deion Sanders has to say about this. Y'all ready?
Whatever her name is, whoever she is, parents, everybody, they're going to come to the hotel to visit you because y'all ain't leaving. Sooner or later, we got to start changing our addresses, guys. That's an analogy to saying, I know we this, but we ain't that. We got to leave that behind that we once did. And that's what you guys are. Now you guys are Jackson State royalty. You ain't no, man. You're not whoever you were a year ago. You're not even who you're going to be a year from now, which is a blessing. But you can't continuously do the things you've always done and expect to get the results. It's going to have to be a change. All of us have gone through drastic changes. Have we, coaches? Have we, coaches? All of us are still evolving into what God has called us to be, and that's change. You cannot kick it with the same dudes you kicked it with. You cannot kick it with the multitude of women that you kick it with. You cannot associate in the same realms that you associate with. You're going to have to change if you expect change. You can't do it. It's going to come to a time they can talk about you, they can mock you, they can ridicule you, they can cuss you out, they can clown you, whatever they want. But you're going to have to separate sooner or later.
First of all, you muted Anthony. Second of all, great speech. And Deion was a coach then, but he was a father first in that moment, I believe. And I think it's a great message. That's a great message for our sons and our kids right there.
Well, yeah, Deion Sanders is making great changes over at Jackson State.
Yeah, hey, put him on the leader list. Sanders,
I'm
so sorry. Put him on the leader list.
The root, the root of it has nothing to do with that college football. Deion is showing the world some things. He's showing America some things. All in the NFL and all in the major programs, and these kids are trying to knock down the doors to get to Jackson State now. And I think that Deion Sanders is one of those people we should definitely put on the leader list. And, I'm the first to say we don't need black celebrities to be our leaders. Deion Sanders is one. He's the blueprint, of what we need to be doing for our own children. Let's go to the comments real quick. Keep them coming, y'all. How true. I totally agree with him. Y'all can make longer comments. Thank you.
Spot on.
Concise. We like concise too, though. So, oh Lord. But yeah, Deion is the man in the other hour right now in regards to trying to unite. And he's doing, like I say, he's doing it in his house. Sound like with his sons, who I think he has two of them that would play for Jackson State right now. And they're definitely doing it for university right now. Those kids in this program. So, like I said, I think you got to start smaller and then go broader. Because otherwise you kind of lose focus. I think in my opinion, if you don't start small first. And I think he does.
You see what the hate. You see all the hate Deion's getting from all the other coaches?
No doubt.
Yeah.
I told you.
And guess what coaches he's getting hate from? Is it Nick Saban?
No.
Nick Saban is the white head coach for Alabama. Is he getting hate from the USC coach or the Alabama coach or the Ohio State coach? No. He's getting it from where? Think about that.
Right the corner.
He better not miss the Michigan State boys. They'll stomp a mud hole.
Oh wow, that was wild. That was wild.
Inside joke for those of y'all that don't follow sports.
That's wild. But yeah, I definitely agree with that, Ant. So sometimes we fight for each other, but sometimes we fight against each other, unfortunately. And it's kind of like in the family, right? I would like to use the family as the centerpiece, because in the family, I might fight my brother in the family at times, but hopefully in the next 20 minutes after the fight over with, we cool. We move forward together. Yeah. But on a bigger scope, that's not what's happening with us. We hold grudges and we just continue this hateful banter back and forth. And it's not what we need as a culture.
It's that jealousy thing. I can't understand. It's like it seems like common sense. This man is giving you the blueprint. Follow the path. He's came to a HBCU, and it ain't just about sports. He's instilled something in them kids. He's put positivity in them. He got them believing in themselves. They are somebody. I do matter. And it's showing through their actions. They grind, they hustle because of what they believe. Now, instead of following the blueprint, we want to hate the man. He think he all that. Yeah. He doing this, he doing that. Like I just said earlier, we gonna support the gangster rapper that's killing 100 folks and selling all the dope and calling the women B's and H's and stuff like that. But we ain't gonna support the man that's telling them you can be somebody and you can do something with your life.
Absolutely. So Deion Sanders is certainly and he don't even have to be a leader in any community but college football, and that's fine.
Yeah.
If they could just follow him in college football, that'll be fine. And so, and everybody has one. I mean, even in our own industry that we work in, if we could just simply set the blueprint and go that route. And that's what I saw, because whenever I saw Eddie Robinson Jr., it disgusted me. I almost got to say, with the exception of a life being taken from Takeoff yesterday, Eddie Robinson Jr. shunning Deion Sanders like that, unless there's something behind it that I don't know, was as gross as what I heard from Takeoff losing his life.
Yeah. And I agree with you. And then the sad part was he found everything in the book to say, well, Deion's doing this, Deion's doing that. And it was like it just goes back to the hate. You hate him so much, you hating on him so much, everything he does seems like a problem. He took 10 breaths. He chewed his food 17 times. So like that. You just find the little so like I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. So then when it just blew up, his hate for him blew up, and I don't understand why we do that as a culture.
So,
Why we hate. That's just like I hate Beyonce and Rihanna can't coexist.
hmm,
Drake, Jay-Z, and whoever can't coexist. It don't have to be hate all the time. It's like we some pretty good folks all together.
and before we move on to Dion real quick, I just want to say one thing I want to point out about what he said was in order to create change, first of all, he didn't say this part, but you gotta want to change, and then you gotta change. So if you don't want to change, then you can't complain about something you're not willing to change yourself, right? So you have to want it, and then actually do the work to change, and then you can change the environment around you. That's what we're looking for. But we gotta want it for individual for ourselves, for our local communities, and then for the global community. Again, that's how I look at it. You can't look at it in my opinion. You can't look at it any other way to make change and growth in that area.
We
Well,
got
he said a lot of things. He said you got to change your address and you got to change who you hang around with. The Bible says the same thing. When I was a child, I spake as a child. When I became a man, I put away. I was saying, a boy is drinking milk, a man is eating meat. It just changes, and you have to elevate with that change.
So true.
And like you don't have to be of where you're from. Because you're in the ghetto don't mean you have to be of the ghetto. Or if you're of the ghetto don't mean whatever. I said it wrong. This cranberry juice got me going. But I tell you, it's real cranberry. But he said something. He said, change your address. And to me, that speaks loud because it simply means when you make it to the next level, be at the next level. And eventually you're going to make it to the next level after that. Be at the, what's funny? Think about this. Even dope dealers, big time dope dealers. When we watch these Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucases in these movies, they don't live in the neighborhood that they selling dope in. They buy $1 million pads in New York City on the top skyscraper. They done moved on. Yeah. Now they selling the dope to the people down there. So they changed their address. They changed who they were. They just got that bad job. Anyways.
yeah, and that's real. It's sad. It's kind of like a culture of who we trying to impress. That's the problem. Who are we trying to impress? It's like this is the sad part. So you take the take the neighborhood. Oh yeah, that's a great quote. But we'll do this. I know people from the hood, right? Now in the hood, people will pee on the corner. They'll bust a bottle on the corner. People will pee in the bottle, leave it on the corner, stuff like that. These same people, they live out here in Cedar Hill, DeSoto, and stuff like that. They wouldn't dare do it. They'd be like, man, let me run to the store. Let me, hey man, I gotta get to a gas station, I gotta use the bathroom, stuff like that. But why you don't pee on the corner like you do? Why you don't pee in the bottle and leave it on the corner like you do? It's it's like it's kind of like that self thing. Like we have to think more of ourselves. Like we think of the hood as a dirty place. They say, even in all the old music stuff like that, the dirty ghetto, the funky ghetto, the filthy ghetto, flipping through the ghetto on a dirty mattress, and that's the concept that we have about the neighborhood, and it spills over to us as a people, as ourselves, how we think about each other as far as pride. And it's coming through the music. We don't think of ourselves enough. It's like you gotta think in this younger culture, I don't even think they blink. Like it's not even traumatizing them to kill a black man. Like I honestly believe if somebody from a different racial ethnicity, whatever, was killed, it's like, oh man. But then a young black man killed, it's just like, oh man, that nigga gone. It's like we desensitized to it. Like the killing of young black men is desensitized.
You got to go back to the depth of what Nipsey said, and we said it on this show several times. How he noticed something, a guy who's sagging, his pants are sagging. Am I frozen or is there? So his pants are sagging, and he decided he want to go off the dude over in another city, right? So other side of the city. So what he does is he drives over there, and he got his gun. He looking for that guy. So he sees a white guy. He don't do anything to him. He see a maybe a black dude that just kind of looked like him. He don't do anything to him. And then all of a sudden he see another dude. I mean, he see a little, preppy black dude. He don't do anything to him. But then he see a dude look just like him, dressed like him, everything just like him. That's the one. So he killing himself. And so that to me represents the entire community of hip hop. It's like we're killing ourselves because they even though it's just as many white kids listening to the music, they're not singing to white kids or singing to the hood that they come from. And to me, they're killing themselves, not even knowing it. That's the unfortunate part. Let's go to the comments. It's not the hood, it's our people. Absolutely, it's our people. It's the mentality of the people in the hood. The hood does nothing. It's just like a bullet. A bullet has no address. My mama used to say that all the time. A bullet has no address on it. So when they shoot this gun, it could kill anybody. So you got to duck. You got to move. And I think that's the same as the hood. The hood has no address. It does. But anyway, so I don't know where Ace or Eric went. I think he must have had some computer.
He couldn't take it. This conversation too deep, man. He probably just threw his hands up.
Absolutely.
I don't doubt it, man. But yeah, it's definitely a thing. We got to figure it out. We got to figure out how to get that pride. How to get that. How to get that self-awareness back with each other. Because right now, like self-worth. I mean, it's a sad thing to say, but it's a valid question to ask to us. How much is a young black life worth? How much do you care about the young black life?
It's how much do you care about your own life? Anytime you can go into the black neighborhood, and this has happened to me before, where you have to call the police for whatever reason, and it takes them 2.5 hours to get there. That's sad. In my neighborhood where I live, it takes 2.5 minutes. Fortunately, I live not too far from the police station.
My neighborhood where I live, it'd be 2.5 minutes. My neighborhood where I'm from, they'll come check the next day for their body.
And
that shooting stuff they ain't coming over.
Yeah.
They come the next day, check it out, drive through in the daylight and stuff like that. But they not. If somebody get killed 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, it's kind of like when we round up the troops, we might get through there.
Takeoff. We're talking about Takeoff, rapper Takeoff from the Migos. Man, they had a lot of great songs, and I hope they keep on going. This is certainly a setback. I fully understand if they decide not to do anything. We're going to go to the comments. I believe this individual was supposed to be on the show tonight, but I'm going to let her pass. We'll get on another time. She said, question, do either of you feel that we will one day cope?
I'm not doing drugs, Angie.
Together and change as a people, a culture. Will we ever truly be united? She fixed it. LOL. Angie.
I mean, I don't have. Will we come together? She tries to say,
come.
Yeah, I thought you told everybody just get together, get high, and forget about it. Like, man, you know what? It don't even matter.
Question: do either of you feel like one day we'll come together and change as a people? My answer to that is no. No, absolutely not. I think it's going to be something different. I'm not going to take the negative route, but that's a great question. I say no. I think, unfortunately, we have too many things going on in the world right now, meaning we have interracial dating, we have the gay culture, we have black on black crime, we have all these things going on. And eventually what we're heading to is a world of just a melting pot, like a lot of just one people. And people are going to forget their history. And once they forget their history, they forget where they come from. They just know where they are. And they just become a product of their society. I think right now we're still in a place where we can kind of remember 1968, whenever they start making black people Americans, and humans in America. I think we can still remember Brown versus the Board of Education. We can still kind of hold on to slavery and civil rights movements and all that stuff. But once we leave our age group, 35 and up, once we're gone, it's over. So if we can't get it together in our time, we can forget about it.
Man, that's an unfortunate fact that you just said right there. That's a very unfortunate fact. I mean, you can take it all the way back to slavery. Eventually, the original language died out. You gotta think we were coming straight from Africa. So when we got here, we were speaking African. Eventually, somebody learned how to speak English. Then they were teaching each other how to speak English. Take a couple of generations back, who knew how to speak African?
Absolutely. That's exactly. All right, let's go to the comments real quick. It says, I'm trying to see who said it. It says the new generation doesn't care about the past and what our ancestors endured. The new
That's right.
generation don't
That's
even care about
Derwin Brown.
Derwin. Thank you for that, Derwin. Hey, look, I don't even think the new generation, meaning I don't know, 20 and under, care about what their grandparents went through. Our grandparents still my parents, our parents, and the new generation's grandparents probably went through more than our grandparents and maybe even our great grandparents. Our great grandparents was in a place, it was segregation, it was white only, they were not humans, they couldn't do a lot of things. And yes, that's fine. But once the civil rights and they decided, look, we're gonna have to take a step back. Some of us are gonna die, some of us are gonna go through hell, all this stuff. Then that's when they really went through it, even if they really wasn't a part of it. So so that's and I say all that because the new generation, the 20 and under, maybe 25 and under, they don't respect that. They don't respect what our parents went through. And so that is an unfortunate situation because they can't certainly respect what slaves went through or anything before that. So let's bring Eric back. All right, comment. My wife says no bad rap music in her house. Bad rap music. Okay. So Eric, we got a comment from Angie came through a moment ago. I want you to answer this. She says, question. Do either of you feel that one day we will come together and change as a people / culture?
Ooh, that's a deep one. I gotta keep hope alive, man. My carnal side is like immediately not, probably not, man. But my spiritual, my hopeful side, it can happen. This side of heaven, I don't know.
Well, you know, I think I said this many times too. I think the unfortunate part is now eliminating all the things I said earlier, like the interracial dating and the gay world that we live in. Now we're moving out of our neighborhoods too. That's scary. To me, that's the scariest thing that we're dealing with right now. Is we don't have neighborhoods. We don't have we can't have community if we don't live in one community. I just don't believe it. We don't even have unity, so we can't have community if we don't even live in one community. You know, we can't have unity. It's tough. Nowadays, our people don't teach about us nor our history.
True.
It's out there. We gotta go. We gotta go search it. Sure, though. That's out there.
Yeah, we gotta start doing a better job of teaching. We gotta do a better job of teaching in our homes and letting our kids know the real about stuff that they not teaching in the schools. We need to bring back program again. That's the important of voting. Like right now, everybody that you watching, vote early, vote or be ready to vote or whatever case may be. So when I was growing up, we used to take field trips. We used to walk to the Martin Luther King Center. I went to Phyllis Wheatley Elementary. It's in the neighborhood. We just walked to the Martin Luther King Center. We used to line, and these white teachers would walk us through South Dallas to the Martin Luther King Center, and it would be African. They would teach us African stories, African folklore, African dance. I forget her name, but they still do it now. I love this lady. It's her, and I think her husband helps and stuff like that. But they tell the African stories while they're beating the drum. Boom, 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 boom. People like even like Erykah Badu's grandmother was, influential in the neighborhood. Just keeping the culture alive, and that that meant something. We were at the Martin Luther King Center and the statue of Martin Luther King there. You learn about him and learn about Black history and people that looked like us, people that were had the dreads and they had an African garb and they were beating the drums, telling us about our ancestors and teaching us about the slave ship and the journey and stuff like that. And we're in elementary now. So I mean, this is like Phyllis Wheatley went from kindergarten to third grade. So I mean, we're kindergarten, first, second grade, and they're getting that into us, and they putting that in our head. And as a result, I've always had Black pride and had pride in my community and things like that. And we got to get those kind of programs back.
What I'm saying is, parents have to teach their kids at home about our history and what our culture contributed to this nation and to this world. That's Derwin once again. Thanks, Derwin. I fully agree. I think, but you know what? One thing I agree with you, Darren. But one thing I like about what Ace just said is You go get to see it, you get to hear it, you get to feel it. It becomes a part of it. Beating the drum is just as part of our culture. Is the stuff that you're learning while they're beating the drum, and that to me it's a whole experience. It's something you'll never forget, and all of a sudden you understand that's what we come from. That's who we really are. My next door neighbor made the comment one time, why don't we just have one culture in America? And I said, whose culture is that? Because I'm not going to lose mine. So it's very important for us to have culture, Black culture, and understand what it is, the foods we drink. To be honest, I think God made us specifically a specific kind of way for specific kind of reasons. Slaves in this earth, in this country, we got beaded hairs and big lips and big noses and all these things because it's hot. We're outside working in this heat. That's dark skin. It protects against this stuff nobody else had to deal with. Of course, I'm sure the Israelis are not Israelis, but the who was it? That was Pharaoh's
Egyptians.
That
boy made Bin Laden a slave. Right? I think it is too hot this temperature.
But that culture, man, I'm telling you, it's so much a part of us. And if we lose that, because the books are not being read anymore. The movies they're making movies, but movies are all about entertainment. You're not getting the truth, the essence of what we are.
I saw a book they were talking about on social media. It was like it was a book that it was showing the truth. It was showing like about the Moors, and it's a Russian book about Russian art and Russian history, but it has all the depiction of the Moors, and it shows like the black paintings, the powerful Moor kings and queens, and all this type of stuff going on. And it's a book that's been around for ages. It's not like a book they put together. Like this book is like maybe like from the 1700s or 1600s. It's one of those kind of books. And the truth is in that book, but they have the book priced. If you go on Amazon right now, it's priced at like $2,900 something dollars, because they don't want you you're not going to pay for that. And you can't, you can't find it, you can't go on and Google and stuff like that. You can Google that and give you the cover of it. But what's in those pages? And I guess they're taking a gamble. Are you willing to pay $2,995 plus 99 cents shipping and handling to find out what's in those pages?
And my 2,000, but the 99 cents is ridiculous. Let me ask y'all a question. This is a little bit off subject, and for those who are joining us, we're supposed to be talking about Takeoff. We talked about him quite a bit.
Yeah, we done took off from that subject.
Yeah, where the culture is leading us in hip hop and all those things. But do you have a particular feeling? You're around white people, and I hope we have white people listening. You're around white people, and Ace, I know you didn't grow up around a lot of white people. You really didn't go to school around a lot of white people, but now you work around them. You don't even live around them now, right? But is there a different feeling? Do you change the way you act? Do you change the way you speak? Do you change the way you think? Do you even feel confident? Tell me what's your feeling as black men, when two educated, strong black men, when you're around people that are, white people, not even Mexicans, white people. But I'm gonna let y'all think about that for a minute. Let's go to the comments real quick. The history books are whitewashing our culture. Kids in school aren't learning true black history. Is that Derwin? Takeoff was sacrifice. Here we go with this. This. That's your cousin, Ace. I mean, Eric.
That's a whole conversation about another show right there, boy.
You know what?
How do you feel? When you're around?
Talking different, a tad bit. If for the reason being is, I feel like I have a responsibility. So if it's just me and it's a lot of white people, I can't be that bad representation for my people. I gotta be. So I talk a little. I slow down my speech so that I can talk. Naturally, I'm country. I say words that don't even exist. Stuff like that. And I never forget. I was in college, and a white lady asked me about. I say 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and she asked me about it and things like that. And I had never noticed it in my life, and I became conscious of it. And I was like, wow, okay, it's 4. There's a R on the end of the, stuff like that. And so I slow down. If I'm speaking in business or speaking to people, I slow down because I want to make sure I always make sure I say 4 the right way. Now, if we're on here with us and I'm talking, just let loose, and I'm going to say 4, things like that. but it does make you feel a certain way. With me, that feeling is a responsibility to represent for us.
I like this next comment. I believe it's Derwin. He said, "I talk less aggressive." LOL. He said LOL, but I think he's very serious about that. Eric, how do you feel?
See, I'm coming from a different perspective. I grew up in the country, East Texas. There was a lot of white folks around me, a lot of black people around me, cousins, but other white people for sure that lived around us. And going to school, my classes were a lot of white people. I had a couple of black friends in there, but the majority of the people in my classes were white. So honestly, I had to learn the quote unquote black culture, like literally in middle school and high school, honestly. And so my perspective is gonna be a little different from most black men, I would say. So I've always dealt pretty well with whichever community I'm in. You know, whether it's a business, a professional situation, or whether I'm going to when I was younger, back in a party like that was in the hood or whatever. I'll feel more comfortable there than I would, necessarily in other situations because of how I grew up or whatever, and who I was around most of the time. But with that being said, though, I kind of like what he's saying. I did feel and still do at times feel more pressure to produce more, to be a certain way, present myself better or differently when I'm around white people per se.
So in the 7th grade, did they, like you said, you had to learn the culture? So did they like sit you down and let you taste fried chicken and let you taste watermelon?
That kind of culture, I grew up with that culture right there at the house, bro. The food part was all good. The music stuff, the lingo, things like that, I had to pick up on my own. You know what I'm saying? Just some of my friends, things like that. But the food things, we definitely had that stuff at the house.
Eric was a peep in school. I'm not really sure what a peep is, but it's
probably quiet.
Thinking me prep.
Okay.
But yeah, I got different perspective for sure. But I do think most black men, I think we all feel a certain level, especially in the professional environment, we feel a certain way to present ourselves a certain way. First of all, we don't make our bread that day and keep our job. And secondly, we would definitely represent the black community. That's how I feel.
Yeah. But I don't conform, though. I tell you right now, I don't participate. I don't do the goofy stuff. I'm not doing.
But you know what? I think you got to play the game, though. You still have to play the game. See, for me, I grew up in a black neighborhood, in a black household, and I also grew up in with black friends, of course. And then I went off to school and I met white people. But I played soccer coming up, I played baseball coming up, all those different things. And so I was already adapted to the white culture. And then when I was 16, I tell this story all the time. It was my first trip to Dallas, Texas with white boys, and I got to learn them. So I've never really been one of those people who check. My mama told me this one time. She may remember. I had my friends Roderick and Broderick over at the house, and I did something, and she said, "Okay, don't you start acting up because your friends are over here. Don't start acting like a different person." And at that moment, I was young. I was like 16, I guess, and I knew then I had to be the same person everywhere. And I didn't care if it was around my friends, around adults, around white people, whatever the case may be. I was going to be the same. Now, of course, I know some people make different adjustments. They don't cuss around certain people. They don't say sexual words, or maybe they don't say religious stuff, whatever it may be. I make those adjustments just like anybody else do. But as far as speaking, as far as presenting myself, as far as having the right posture, as far as all those things, I am the same person no matter who. But I will say this: when I'm around white people, I feel like I have to exert more confidence.
Right.
I have to show them that I'm above. I don't want to say them, but I'm above. I'm just going to leave it at that. And for whatever reason, that almost makes me feel equal, which is an unfortunate part because it almost makes you think that you're less. So you have to do better to feel equal. Let's go to the comments.
All I got out of that is so when you
I live in a white neighborhood. I know a lame joke is coming. No, I live in a white neighborhood and I am the same. I'm not real sure.
When you're around certain people, so all I got is when you're around certain people, you cuss a lot and tell sexual jokes.
Well, I think that I think it's important. After you said something really, really important, I think it's important you find who you are and be who you are, no matter who you're around. And that's people that you feel like that you want to help them get to a different level, or people that you trying to get to their level in your head. But I think it's important. And I want to say to our audience tonight, I think Ace brought this earlier, that we don't think necessarily highly of ourselves as black people. But young man, young ma'am, young sirs, older gentlemen, older ma'ams, you are somebody. We have to think that to ourselves. If you said something about today of another black man, another black woman, say that to somebody, because somebody might need to hear that. Because you are somebody, and you were something. You're not just out here just producing babies, or you're not here what people say you are. You who you say you are, right? So you are somebody.
All right.
Shout out to Toby Sims.
You are somebody, you're just not better than Ace.
Hey, thank y'all for joining us. Unfortunate, please say a prayer for Takeoff and his family. From what I understand, that whole situation was just an unfortunate one where he just sat and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and quite honestly, probably a target. I don't know what that was about, but nevertheless, we definitely need to pray for our culture, our black young men. I think I like we had Deion Sanders on. Deion Sanders is preaching to young men. The culture starts with the men. Change starts with the man. So what we have to do is we have to praise people like Deion Sanders and put him on the pedestal that he deserved, and have our high school coaches hold them to that same standard, hold our fathers to that same standard, hold our teachers to that same standard, and most importantly, hold ourselves to that same standard. And I think that finally we'll be able to get somewhere, because we may not be able to hold on to that culture too long, but at least we'll have some thriving young black men and women. That's really the important thing.
Accountability.
All right, hey, thank y'all for joining us. Next week we'll be back. Ace, what we got on the show next week?
Next week I'm hitting the streets hard. We got dumb youngsters who gonna say Takeoff is the greatest of all time just because he passed away.
Hey, look, the comments are still coming in. We're gonna say sacrificed. It's okay to say it, Anthony. Okay.
Oh, I know what you mean when you say that. I know what you mean when you say that, though.
Who says that? Is that Derwin?
More likely.
I'll make sure they know they're not messing with
a Nig. Neeg. No, they're not messing with a Neeg. Let them know.
Question. All right, hey, we'll see y'all next week. Thank you for joining.
Peace.